I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice.
Do your own research.
Consult a professional investment advisor before making any investment decisions.
This show is for entertainment only. Faites vos propres recherches.
Here we are
in another episode
of the Simple Success Podcast.
And
this is financial life coaching from a happiness perspective.
Tis true. The 4% rule is a sound investment strategy for your future purchasing power. It can help us to make wise decisions with our retirement savings. But how do we know when to apply this safe withdrawal rate spending rule? We must be sure to consider our current financial situation and future goals before investing. And we must also remember to diversify our investment portfolio for the best returns. Diversification is key to any successful investment strategy. Indeed, it can help us to mitigate risk with minimum distributions while maximizing our returns. But we must also be sure to monitor our investments regularly. Methinks that way we can make adjustments. Just because we want to increase our probability of success? No, as needed, in order to keep our retirement withdrawals on track with our goals. Okay, just remember, the 4% rule is a wise way to invest our funds. We must be sure to consider our current financial situation, yes, and future goals, like the money in retirement one, and diversify our investments for the best returns. Right, and we must be sure to weigh all options carefully before investing. And remember that no investment is without risk. But with proper planning and research, we can minimize that risk.
And not be over-focused on investment returns or investment outcomes.
As long as they're successful, that is. So what exactly is the 4% rule? Besides being one of the good rules of thumb, I mean. It's a retirement strategy that suggests withdrawing no more than 4% of your total portfolio value each year. But not more than that, even in weird market conditions? No, not more. How about less, like 3.5%? That would be much better for you, because you'd be able to ensure that your saving and investing lasts longer. And it helps to protect against inflation and market volatility. Enough of the eyes, my liege. Got it. We'll do this blind from now on. Maybe from a script perspective, but eyes open for the reality.
How much can you spend in retirement?
Remember, the 4% rule suggests that you can safely withdraw 4% of your total portfolio value each year. And this amount should be adjusted for inflation each year to ensure that it keeps up with the cost of living. That's true. It's important to remember, however, that this is just a guideline and not a guarantee. You may need to adjust your withdrawal rate depending on your individual circumstances. And it's important to consider other sources of income, such as Social Security or pensions, when planning for retirement. I said I wouldn't say that. I'll just say it's important to remember that the 4% rule is just a guideline. Right. And although it may sound repetitive is one of the things that we do here. So you may need to adjust your withdrawal rate depending on your individual circumstances. And don't forget to factor in inflation when calculating how much you can spend in retirement. True dat again. The 4% rule is a great starting point for retirement planning, but it's important to do your research and make sure you're making the best decisions for your individual situation.
That's good.
Well, wait a minute. How long should you plan to live? When planning for retirement, this is an important question. It's important to consider how long you plan to live. Yes, but that was a question. The 4% rule assumes that you will live at least 30 years in retirement, right? Approximately. And your portfolio should be able to sustain itself for at least that long. Yo ho ho. And it's important to calculate how much you can spend in retirement to make this work. Cool, Captain Doubting. Now, how flexible is this plan? The 4% rule? It's a great starting point for retirement planning, but it's important to remember that it's not set in stone like nothing is. Right. You have to be flexible. You can adjust the withdrawal rate depending on your individual circumstances and goals, avoiding your own personal financial crisis. And you should also consider other sources of income, such as Social Security or pensions, when planning for your retirement. Yes. And it's also important to remember it's a guideline. Yeah, remember, it's a guideline. Do your own research. My thoughts exactly. So what does our guest say about this? We don't have a guest this week. Guests are every other week. Okay, but since You like to bring stuff together. What would a guest say about this? A guest would likely agree with the importance of doing your own research. They might also agree that the 4% rule is just a guideline and should be adjusted depending on your individual circumstances and goals. Yeah, they might say that. Also, they might take the time to play the right note. Huh?
Take the time to play the right note.
It's that Ray Charles thing. Never mind. Take the time to consider all your options. How many years do we wait? For what? Asparagus! No, really. For what? How many years do we wait for our break? I'm not sure what the answer is, but while you think about the answer, let's do...
Break number 1.
Hello, everyone. This is John with the Simple Success Podcast, financial life coaching from a happiness perspective. Because we know you want to show us some serious love in return for the tremendous benefits you get from us, please subscribe to us in your favorite podcast player. You can find us on both the App Store and the Play Store because our message is for everyone. Leave a rating for us, or even better, tell a friend. Whichever you choose, thank you so much for helping us do this for you. To leave us a written message, which just might lead to more in a future podcast, go to those same written show notes to find our subreddits. There is also our Facebook group page, Twitter, and other ways which we'll tell you about from time to time. You can also find an Easter egg every so often, so listen closely. Thank you again, and keep those constructive ideas coming. We've been told to save our money, but the 4% rule is funny. It's a way to make sure we're safe and sound. When it comes to retirement planning, it's the only way that's standing. So let's take a look at what it means around. 4% is the rule of thumb. It's a way to make sure that we're done. We can live off our savings when we're old. It's a simple plan that works. So let's take it to the church and make sure our future is secure and bold. We can't just spend our money willy-nilly. But the 4% rule is really a way to make sure we're not in too deep. We can save and invest, and our future will be blessed. So let's take a look at what it means for us to keep. 4% is the rule of thumb. It's a way to make sure that we're done. We can live off our savings when we're old. It's a simple plan that works. So let's take it to the church and make sure our future is secure and bold.
You are welcome. De nada. De rien.
We can't just spend our money carelessly, but the 4% rule will set us free. It's a way to make sure we're not in too deep. We can save and invest, and our future will be blessed. So let's take a look at what it means for us to keep. 4% is the rule of thumb. It's a way to make sure that we're done. We can live off our savings when we're old. It's a simple plan that works. So let's take it to the church and make sure our future is secure and bold.
That's good.
So, how much of what we've got can we spend in retirement? That depends a whole lot. A beaucoup lot? Yeah, a beaucoup lot. On what? On your lifestyle. Okay. Can't you just give me a number? Sure I can. The 4% rule. It's that popular answer again.
It's all a matter of belief.
The 4% rule? Are we still talking about that? Yes, that guideline for retirement spending. Which says how much you can spend? Yes, that it is. At least for the first year of retirement, and then inflation and other stuff and personal goals. Indeed, adjusting that amount each year, not to worry that it's a permanent rule, it's a guideline. So, if I start with a cool $1 million in the bank, okay, good example. If that's the case, then you should withdraw no more than $40,000 of that in the first year. So that what? So that you don't run out of money while you are still alive. As I used to say to people when I was actively financial advising, that would really suck. As you've always said. Yeah, I mean, the 4% rule works because over time, the remaining savings should grow enough to offset inflation and keep up with a wide range of your spending needs. That makes sense. And this has been around for a long time, right? It has, DT. The 4% rule has been around, well, at least since 1994, which is a long time for most people. That's when financial planner William Bengen published a paper about it.
That's good.
What did this Bengen guy want to prove? He wanted to prove that his 4% guideline could help keep people from auguring themselves and their families into the ground while they're still alive. And how did he do that? It's simple, DT, if you've got the time and money. Or if you think of a way to not need time or money. Yeah, there's that. Bengen studied historical stock market returns and inflation rates to figure out this problem. The result being a great way to maintain your spending power over time. Bravissimo. That's right. He translated. Thanks, DT. The 4% rule is not a one-size-fits-all or a guarantee of success. Remember, it's a useful guideline for retirement expenses for us. It's a great way to keep pace with inflation. And that could be connected to patience and financial goals as well? It can, and we're about to tell you more detail about it.
But first, break number 2.
We know a lot about you already because we know ourselves. For example, we know that you know how to listen to our podcast. We also know that you probably know how to subscribe. So as soon as you're done with that, tell us your story. We have ways you can contact us. It involves a special link where you can leave us a message. We may have an email address for you as well in the future, and we'll let you know if that happens. The reason for subscribing? I thought you'd never ask. When you subscribe, you automatically download all future episodes of that podcast. It just happens in your player without you having to go search again. How cool is that? This means better rankings for the podcast, more attention from advertisers, and more money. And this means more and better stuff for you. So your motivation is simple and easy. Subscribe today, whatever app and from whatever place you like. And don't just try to subscribe. There is no try. There is only do. We're changing the way we look at things, and remember, that's good. Eso es buenísimo. Also remember, this is financial life coaching from a happiness perspective. Coaching happiness. Our call to action is right in the show notes. Find it, and you win too. Want to know another clever way to apply the 4% rule? Sure, DT, what is it? It's a simple solution for smart investing. The 4% rule is smart? Muy inteligente, mi amigo. Okay, let me see if I understand right. Okay. The idea is that you withdraw no more than 4% of your savings each year in retirement. Right, that's fundamental.
Duh.
Yes, well, it sure helps to have your money last as long as possible, don't you think? I guess, but doesn't that mean knowing when you're done getting older? Oh, we're going down that road, are we? I guess you mean I should shut up and learn something. That might work.
That's good.
So I would, as a living, breathing financial guy, tell people, tell them what? That they might live a lot longer than they thought they would, or that they had planned. That had to be good news. Not if they ran out of money, it wouldn't be. Oh, you mean if you plan to have enough until a certain age? Right, and then you get there, and you're still healthy? Some retirement plan, that would sure suck. You'd say that? I would. And it worked? It did. That's great. So how do I settle on a number for me? There's going to be some personal analysis there, but everybody, including you, we start with age 100. But the lifespan tables say, doesn't matter what they say, you're not buying insurance. What matters is that you have enough to live on while you're living. This retirement planning concept needs more analysis. Yes, and we can talk about that, especially for you, because I'm not making personal specific recommendations. Is it easy? Sort of, but when we apply the practice rule, we just get better and better.
Which is how you've all gotten good.
Gracias por escuchar.
Salut. À la prochaine.
This podcast and our other podcast are productions of Little Red Hen Industries. The supporting cast who helps me bake the bread includes
Techno King, John C. Brandy, Alter Ego, Doubting Thomas, Fact Checker, A Small Brown Beef Animal, Seriously, Tiny. Facts are important but are also easy. Social Manager, Abraham Lincoln, Media Expert, Augustus Caesar. Psychologist, William James. Sound Designer, Adobe's Creative Suite. Spanish Consultant, Cameron J.K. Brandy. French Consultant, Leah, the Do-Your-Own Research Lady. Videographer, Ato Monkoshki. Audio Props, Les Paul. Inspiration, many podcasts and other sources, and of course Napoleon Hill.
We also have websites, and you can subscribe to both podcasts. You can even send us a video, audio, or text message, but of course, you'll have to head to the show notes, either on your phone or on the web, to get the links and stuff. And all those clickable links are in the show notes.
And before we forget, the artificial intelligence or AI voices that you hear in our work are offered up by Google, Amazon Polly, and OpenAI, like we say in the show notes. They don't sponsor us yet, but we love what they do, and we just love what AI can do when lovingly crafted.
Finally, you can find us on Podmatch.com, Matchmaker.fm, Podbooker and Podcast Guests, where we consider guests and consider guesting on other people's shows.
And really finally, the music for our pods comes from Cute by Ben Sound and from Piano Background by Nick Simon Adams, as well as from AI MuseNet. The sound effect credits go to Jackson Academy Ashmore. Canusi G, Dr. Jekyll, Joe Payne, Everything Sounds, MK Play More Stories, ERH, Sand Emotions, Big Pickle 51, and Just Kidding. Yes, that's his or her name. All on freesound.org. Also, languages are the bomb.
Paul.